Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is a duo Juicebox Heroes podcast. I'm one of your hosts, PK, and as always, Homer Chris is with us. Bryles is not able tonight, but he will be back on the next episode. Hope you guys are staying warm. Chris, what's going on, man?
Man, it's been a long weekend. Not gonna lie. Spent most of my day yesterday out and evaluating a bunch of 9 and 10-year-olds for the spring season coming up. We have our big draft on Thursday, so probably here pretty soon. It'll be time to get in the war room. Get a draft plan going. But besides that, man, I feel like since we got back from the evals, I feel like the last day and a half has been such a blur. Like I've been so exhausted. But outside of that, it's kind of a tough day to be a Texans fan. So, how are you doing, PK?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad that there was a break between the end of the game and us doing this podcast. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It was yeah, I don't even want to get into it because it's a baseball podcast, but I'm going to tell you that now the focus has 1000% switched over from football season to Astros as we get ready here. And today is the 18th, so less than a month for pitchers and catchers. So it's full baseball season now. But yeah, no, just a lot of football this weekend. A lot of excitement built up for today, just to be completely let down. But so it goes as a Houston football fan, unfortunately, in a great city. So, but anyways, man, let's get into some Astros baseball. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's still nothing going on with our Houston Astros. Like nothing, other than a couple of announcements that we're going to get into. The biggest thing is that Ryan Pressley posted, I believe it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was
Yeah,
yesterday.
I think so. I think it was yesterday.
He announced that he was retiring from the game. So that's like the biggest Astros news at the moment, honestly. But like we're gonna get into that. We kind of remember back in 22 that postseason that he had as our closer. I mean, it was disgustingly awesome. I mean, it really was. You know what I mean? I mean, he cemented his Houston legacy in that postseason, right? I mean, and that guy. I mean, if you go back to when he was with Minnesota and when we acquired him, I believe we acquired him, right? It wasn't a free agent; it was an acquisition.
No, it was a trade in the middle of the 2018 season.
Like I don't know if you could have looked forward to see the type of closer that he would have ended up being. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And so, he's like a in that era of ball players that Astros had that like he shouldn't buy a beer here in the city of Houston, right? Chas McCormick we talked about from the catch out in Philadelphia, right? Like one of those type of deals. Ryan Presley's status is a lot higher than that, obviously, right? But we also saw at the end of 24, right? Like he was starting to struggle, right? He had been moved from closer to setup role, right? When Hader came over. And it really didn't seem to be vibing that much. I mean, I don't, you talk about the mentality of a closing pitcher has to have relative to an eighth inning guy. It's just a lot different. And it just didn't seem to click. The announcement was that was okay with them bringing Hader in. He was being a team player, but I think deep down, like it probably cut to his core, right, to kind of be essentially demoted, right, from his closer role, especially given the amount of games that he closed for this organization, right? So, but he goes to Chicago and has, okay, but hats off to him, man. I mean, a legend for the Astros organization, no doubt, as one of the greatest Astros closers. But he hangs it up. I think it was 13 years he pitched in the league.
No, yeah, it was 13.
Yeah. So, what do you got on him? What do you got on old Ryan Presley?
You know, I look back and of course, like we as Astros fans, we kind of gave him a hard time that last year and some change that he was with us. I mean, but like looking back now that he's retiring and he's taking a job, I think he's doing some type of like coaching development stuff with the Twins. We got him for Gilberto Celestino and Jorge Alcala. And the fact that I could probably say that and you probably don't know who they are, which tells you that we won that trade. So Yeah, I mean, like I was kind of perusing through his baseball reference page, and like he was only 3 seasons that he was like our bona fide closer. Um, but you mentioned the 2022 playoffs, and holy moly, was that dude freaking dominant? I think he threw 11 innings, 0 earned runs, um, and like how many games? I think at least 2 games he had multiple innings save for the Astros. Um, and yeah, I mean, like you look back on it, and you're absolutely right. This man should never have to buy a beer in the city of Houston or surrounding areas. He has earned his keep in Astros lore, and I think you can safely say that they don't win that 2022 World Series if it wasn't for Ryan Pressley shutting down those innings that he shut down. I mean, so I hope he has a fantastic, post baseball career, which I'm sure he's already got a gig, like I said, with Minnesota. So hey, man, enjoy it. You've earned it, and again, thank you for 2022, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. Yeah, it was tough to see him kind of go down the way he went down, at least for our organization, right? Because I mean that wasn't the Ryan Presley that we were used to seeing, had grown accustomed to seeing. But Father Time always wins. Father Time's undefeated. We all know that, right? So hats off to Ryan Presley. Enjoy retirement. Getting, I'm assuming more time with the fam. So that's the Ryan Presley, man. Another signing. I put, we talked about Caratini with on the last episode that we have a sleeper on, and needing a backup catcher. He signs a 2-year, $14 million contract with the Twins, and so there goes, there goes whatever you thought was going to happen with Caratini. Caratini being in Houston the same day that Imai was at the Rockets game, uh, didn't really
Meant
mean anything.
nothing.
Maybe did nothing. Maybe it was a conversation they were having, but I just don't. 2 years, 14. Look, you weren't going to pay, Dubon the 7 million a year to be a utility guy. This guy obviously plays less positions than Dubon. Right now, from an offensive standpoint, I would trust Caratini more than I would Dubon. Right. Um, but yeah, he's off. He's off to Minnesota. 2 years, 14. Good for him. He got paid. Looks like we'll roll with Salazar as the backup. Defensive first catcher. Talked about that a couple of episodes or last episode. So does that swing for you, Chris? Does that swing the pendulum any direction for continuing to look for a backup catcher? Or are you going to roll with Cesar Salazar?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not surprised. I mean, I've been pretty much predicting Caratini not to come back with the Astros. I don't know why every catcher that comes to the Astros immediately signs with the Twins. We saw that Christian Vasquez. Now we're seeing that with Caratini. I mean, as far as where is their market for a backup catcher? I mean, honestly, it's like your cheapest option is going to be Cesar Salazar, and I know for me, like every time I've seen him come up and play, like he hasn't embarrassed himself. I mean, so um, I think if you're the Astros and you're going to, um, you're looking for the backup catcher, I think they come into spring training with Caesar Salazar as their backup, and maybe they sign another veteran catcher to and invite them to spring training, and maybe he's on one of those like minor league with the major league option if he cracks the team. But yeah, I mean, like, hey, Caratini, I mean, like, you can kind of look at it, it's kind of catch 22 because it's like, man, 2 year 14. So he only got paid $1 million more than what the Astros gave him. But then you're like, man, he only got paid $1 million more than what the Astros paid him last season. Could they have swung it? Could they not have swung it? I mean, I think it's about trying to stay under that CPT. I mean, so like it's not a big surprise. And like I said, if they're trying to save money, just hand it to Caesar Salazar. See what you got in him. I think he's 27 or 28. I mean, like we're just kind of eating time until Walker Yannick makes his way up. I mean, so that's kind of where we're at. I mean, so thank you for everything you've done the last 2 years, Caratini, but he gone.
Well, didn't and then Yannick got an invite to spring, didn't he? On the major
Yes,
league
he
club.
did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So look, I mean, look, if and Yannick had a good season last year, And if he replicates that again in 26, this could be your potential next catcher, right? I mean, if he's going to be defensively better than Yiner and maybe offensively a little bit better or the same, you could see Yiner, you know, be let go when his time's up. So, I mean, with Walker Yannick coming to the spring for this year, getting the invite, that kind of tells you, like you said, that kind of shows you what the organization is kind of hoping for, that Yannick continues to trend in the direction that he is the catcher of the future. So have Salazar on the cheap, see what, like you said, see what you have in him, you know what I mean, and just kind of hold pat at the catcher's position until Yannick forces you to kind of make a move, right? So
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, look at Zach Cole. I mean, Dana Brown is not shy. If you stay hot through the minors, he will rocket you through the minors. I mean, like I said, just look at Zach Cole last year. He started the season what, double A
yeah,
or single A, and then he ended up on the Astros. I mean, so Walker Yannick, they're probably inviting him to get a good look at him. I mean, so you know, if he has a good spring, they'll probably keep an eye on him. I highly, 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 highly doubt he'll make the team out of spring.
right.
But I mean, but like I said, I mean, Dana Brown has shown that he will rocket you through the minors if you continue to produce the numbers. I mean, so, but yeah, I mean, like I think it's going to be Salazar. It's going to be the backup, but at least you won't have to worry about pitchers trying to hit him. So that's good.
Yeah, and like I don't think you're gonna see another Cam Smith type, um, escalation through the minors. I know that Cam didn't really. I mean, he played more minors with the Cubs, right? But the Cam Smith was kind of an anomaly because you had a need in right field. Like you didn't have anybody to play right? And you threw him out there, and he's an athlete, and he had a fantastic spring. I mean, we were all stoked about it coming out of spring, right? So, I just, I agree. I really don't see it other than let's bring him into big boy camp. Let's see what we have in him, and then put a plan together for him to work on during 26. And like you said, Dana Brown, man, he'll shoot these guys up through the ranks really quick. But Yannick making this club out of spring, no chance, because you cannot take
No,
at bats away from this kid. You cannot, right? And all he's gonna do is sit on the bench, and get a few bats. I mean, even though the Astros, we've seen them do that with some other players, you're just not going to see it. So it's just a good way to get a look at him. And if he has a good spring, man, then it's pretty something special to be looking forward to in the future. So look, if you got something else, man, I'm gonna jump into this big free agent disaster signing out west.
I mean, I did kind of want to touch up on the newest part of the Paredes to Boston freaking saga. That
The
seems like
saga. It's a saga.
it's got more movies than like the Fast and the Furious. It's like there's always a new chapter. Like it seems like it's every day. So from what I've read, our good old buddy Brett from Locked On Astros put out that apparently somebody he's talking to, one of his sources, are saying a deal is imminent and that deal is going to get done, I guess, this week. And from what he's saying is that that deal is absolutely going to include Jared Duran, which makes me happy. I'm like, okay, I mean, if you're going to make this trade, might as well get the piece that you need, right? But then I saw something from, I think is it Michael Shaw? Michael Shaw, is that his name?
Schwab.
There it is. He's saying that his source is telling him that Durant is not on the table. And the second I read that, I thought, hang up the phone. Because if Durant's not a part of this deal, go ahead and hang it up. Just one last point I wanted to make before we move on is that I've been reading a lot about people complaining about, well, what are we going to do if Carlos Correa gets hurt? Because he got hurt all those years with Minnesota. What are we going to do? PK, what are we going to do if Carlos Correa gets hurt? And my reply is, well, you have a guy out there. His name is Bryce Matthews, who for the majority, a good chunk of 2024, saw a lot of reps at third base for the Space Cowboys. So I feel like if somebody gets hurt, he's the next guy on deck. So the answer to that question is Bryce Matthews. Bryce Matthews. Bryce Matthews. There's a reason why he wasn't traded in any of these deals that were made, because Bryce Matthews isn't going anywhere. Okay, so that is our piece of chapter 7 and the Paredes to Boston epic saga that seems like it's longer than Star Wars. There we go. You got anything?
Yeah, so I was talking with Sleeper, I don't know, a couple days ago. And he said if what if Abreu has to be part of the package?
It depends on what you're getting back.
All right, what would it take if you had to get rid of Paredes and Abreu, you get Duran, Tolley. You have to, for me, you have to get a third player. You have to get a third player. You can't just go 2 for 2.
Well, here's the thing: is that the only reason why I don't like sending in Abreu is that you leave like you because your back part of your bullpen right now is pretty set with the Abreu Hader combination. So if you go and you trade Abreu a part of this deal, you literally have no safety net from middle reliever to Josh Hader. That's gone. So now you've got to go into camp figuring out who's going to be our setup guy.
Bennett Sousa.
And I'm not sold on that. I know that's your boy.
Really? I think he'd be
I'm not sold on
eighth
him
inning
as being a setup guy. I mean, my setup guy, I would like to be 2022 Brian Abreu. That's who I want my setup guy to be.
In this situation, you don't have him.
Well, in this situation, I mean, sometimes, you don't. Here's my thing: you don't have to make this trade.
No,
there is nothing in the world that says you have to make this trade, right? So if Boston doesn't completely blow you away, and we'll give you Duran, we'll give you Tolley, and you can give us Isak Paredes and a double-A arm. Okay, get it done. That's fine. But the second they start bringing out Abreu and Bryce Matthews and all these other guys, it's like you don't have to make this trade. You can hang on to him and wait till Boston becomes even more desperate come the trade deadline. And then you can make this trade. But I don't think you start stripping down your bullpen just to make this trade.
All right, so it was Abreu, Isak for Duran and Bello.
No.
That's quick, bro.
Well, I don't know where. Don't get me wrong. Brian Bello was an up and coming pitching prospect 2 years ago. He's already got this is going to be I think year 3 of him. I'm sorry if he Brian Bello, cool story. No, it's got to be Tolley. It's got to be Paredes.
It's got to be Tolley.
And I don't want to have to give up much more besides Paredes. The Red Sox need Paredes. We don't need, yes, it'd be great as a fan. It'd be fantastic to get Jared Duran. I would be over the moon, but I don't have to have, Jared Duran come spring training. I can have Isak Paredes, and I'm good with that. Boston's the one that needs it. We don't need it. We do, but we're not desperate like Boston is.
Well, and that's the key. Those last 15 seconds of you saying is the key. We don't have to make the trade. Espada can make the lineup work, right? You can put Isak at 2, Altuve in left. It's probably not ideal. Jordan DHing or flip flop Jordan and Altuve, from a DH left field perspective, right? You don't have to make the deal unless, like you said, Boston blows you out of the water with this offer. Do we need a upgrade from Jake Myers? Duran provides that, right? But even if you get Duran, you can put Duran on left. You're gonna have Myers in center, right, and Cam in right, and then what's his name? Jordan's your full-time DH. Altuve stays home at 2, right? And so it's I agree. They have to blow you out of the water with the offer. They need a third baseman. They have Roman Anthony over there, and I don't want to get too deep into Boston Red Sox.
They're not giving up Roman Anthony.
No. I'm not talking about giving up Roman Anthony. I'm talking about.
Oh, you're just talking about depth wise.
He can play third, right? So if they're Boston, if the Astros aren't giving up what they want, if the Astros aren't giving up what Boston wants, then they could easily, obviously, reject it also. right? I mean, we think that they need the third baseman, and they do, but Roman Anthony did play third base for them and can play third base. So if they want to go that route, they can as well. So I think but last week on Locked On, before my internet decided to take a crap, I went 60-40 on the trade happening. But the longer that it goes and the more crap that gets thrown out on X or all these social platforms about, talks are heating up and it's going to take X and it's going to take Y. It's just all a bunch of hearsay. I mean, it really is. And so I don't think it could be essentially a coin flip, right? If it's going to get done. Astros hold all the cards. If Boston really wants Paredes, then they're going to give the Astros what they need. Dana's not going to, even though we've given Dana a lot of crap before, he's kind of proven that he kind of cooks with these moves. You know what I mean? So Dana is not comfortable with what Boston's given up. Cool. We'll hold on Paredes, and then, like I said, Paredes will hold down 2. Altuve and Jordan will platoon left field /DH.
So they can platoon DH.
and they've got a pretty good lineup on paper. In that case.
No, I agree with you 100%. Like, you don't have to make this trade. I mean, I don't want them to make the trade just out of the sake of making the trade.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, we've talked about this for so long. Yeah, well, walk away. If you're not getting what you want, and like I said, I mean, like, I, for one, think Dana Brown is cooked every single time he's made a trade. Some of us has not agreed with it, but that's fine. But like, I'm whatever trade that gets done. I mean, like I said, if you look at 3 different GMs, you look in the last 10 years. So what are we in 2026? So you look between 2016 and 2026, outside of really one trade. I guess you could say 2, because the Carlos Gomez trade. You traded Josh Hader. I mean, so that one kind of stung a little bit because I don't think Gomez lived up to the hype in an Astros jersey. But the closest trade that we've made where you can kind of said, you kind of gave up a decent piece was the trade for Garrett Cole, where you gave up Musgrove. I mean, but you compare Musgrove's stats with Garrett Cole's stats for the Astros, you make that trade all day long.
Dude, I do.
I mean, so
you don't not trade that. You do not make that trade.
I mean, like, so the Astros, like, and again, this is going through 3 GMs. Of course, you got Luno, Click, and you've got Dana Brown. The Astros really don't lose trades. I mean, like, it's not like you're giving up, Bryce Matthews for, some like rookie league catcher. I mean, so if they do get this trade done, I'm sure at first there'll be people on both sides of the fence, whatever the details of this trade is. But I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, we'll look back and be like, yeah, again, it was another good trade. So we'll see. We'll see what the next chapter of this saga, contains.
Well, I feel like like there's an excitement, at least from a fan's perspective. Some fans are excited about the fact that Paredes' name is up, right? Potentially, right? Because you're looking at a Duran addition, right? Then you have the other ones that are like, what are we doing, right? And I kind of go back and forth. However, if you can get the level of player that has at least been reported, it's an instant upgrade to a need that this club needs, right? And it fills that spot. So, and like you said, like, there's no rush to do it. We don't have to make a trade prior to pitchers and catchers reporting, but we just don't have to, right? So, there's always the July 31st deadline. If God forbid that we're out of the freaking running, and like we have to make, we can unload like that to acquire some talent, but we'll just see. We'll just see how it plays out, man. I mean, like, there's no reason, there's no rush. So unless Boston gives us exactly what Dana Brown wants, then look forward to seeing Isak holding down second base to start the season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So you got a few minutes.
All right, let's get into your. Yeah, I know you want to talk about the fantastic news that went down over the last couple of days.
So I didn't know how I felt about it. I think and thankfully we have, by we, I mean, you have a family member that's a Dodger fan, call him Dodger Mike, right?
Yeah.
And so, obviously he's super pumped, even though what's funny is that these guys talk so much crap about Astros players, and then when
until they become free agents.
until
Then
they
they want to
become
go
free
sign them.
agents, and then they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh hell yes, get this guy," right? 4 years, 240. 4 years,
That's a lot of
240.
money. That's a lot of money.
4 years, 240 for Kyle Tucker. And like the thing is, so like 30 million is in deferred payments. So his AAV is 57.1. Now he's out in California, so he's going to get like 25% of that to take home or something. And that's not really the point, but I wanted to get your gut reaction to it, aside from the AAV, right? Because I'll tell you how I felt. But what was your gut reaction to the news that Tucker signed the Dodgers?
Very first reaction was, well, I was like, man, son of a, really? The Dodgers? Really? The Dodgers? That was kind of my main thing, was like, really? The Dodgers? I thought it was going to be Toronto, because they were going to go up to 10 years.
Uh-huh.
But so I was expecting to see Toronto or New York. But when I saw the Dodgers, I was like, man, like I just felt that was a big punk move. I mean, like, okay, Durant, go get your ring in Golden State instead of trying to beat them. Like I didn't. I'm like, I'm not like, oh, the Dodgers are. This is why baseball's ruined. I feel like, I mean, like you have to look at. I mean, I could sit here and be like everybody else and be like, oh, the Dodgers are killing baseball. Baseball's never going to play again after this lockout. Blah 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 blah. But like, to be fair, because like I'm all about giving Dodgers shit when they do stupid stuff, but I'm gonna give them their flowers too. I mean, they invest a crap ton of the money they make back into that roster. That's why you see the moves that get made. I mean, so I'm sorry, Brewers fan. I'm sorry, Pirates fan. I'm sorry, Tampa Bay Rays fan. I mean, that's the one thing that I will say. Hey, at least they put the money back into the roster. So am I a big fan of all the deferred payments and all that? Not really. I mean, but like at the end of the day, it's like I felt like it was a punk move. Um, it did not ruin my day. I continued doing what I do every single day. Was get up, go to work, whatever. I mean, so um, it was just kind of like, man, the Dodgers. That was kind of a punk move. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, it was a sellout to me. I was like, dude, you're selling out, bro. Like, come on. Well, like of all the teams, that's what you're doing now. Again, he's getting paid $60 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's
to
easy to run
baseball.
your mouth.
You know what I'm
see the
saying?
check.
And so, like, you get to play a game for $60 million a year, loaded lineup, loaded organization, and like at the end of the day, whether I can't stand the Dodgers or not, they are I just lost my train of thought. Just a really famous franchise. Whatever, and that's not really the word I was looking for, but they are, they're
Historic.
Historic. That was what I was looking for. Thank you.
I'm here for you.
If you wanted that, then cool. But you're looking at the bag. You get your bag, 60 mil. The 10 million, 350 something million that Toronto offered, I seriously thought that he was going there. Toronto had brought him to Florida to show him the facilities. I don't know if anybody watches the TGL on ESPN, but he was there with Springer and old Uncle Mike last week, right? So I'm sure Springer, I know they still obviously keep in touch, but I'm sure Springer was on the recruiting end. The Dodger thing just kind of came out of nowhere for me. So my initial reaction was a complete sellout, just a punk move. But what got me on social media was some comments about people for their teams like scared of the Dodgers all of a sudden. Like scared, these guys are going to win it again. Like they're ruining baseball. And I posted something. I was like, man, that's just like loser mentality. It's loser mentality. Like the Blue Jays, just to go back, this past World Series took them to 7 games. Blue Jays should have won. They didn't. Doesn't matter, right? You can go back to the 19 playoffs. The Dodgers were stacked then. They're not as stacked as they were now, but they were still stacked. They lost to the Nationals. And they lost in the Dodger Stadium to the Nationals, right? So then the Dodgers lost to the Rangers in the World Series, right? In the COVID year, right? It was right. No, yeah. Am I right there?
The
That was
Dodgers
Diamondbacks.
Dodgers won the COVID year. Um, but
So
the
the point
point
I'm
that you're
getting at
making is
is
that
that
they can be beat. It's not like they steamrolled everybody.
yes, because you can go to the Yankees when they weren't winning, which they haven't won in a minute, right? But they were dropping all that money every year, every year, every year, and still getting bounced, right? So my thing about it is like, okay, this is going to make it even sweeter when we go and play y'all. Run it back, run 2017 back. Let's go and have this again. And then you'll get to see what Kyle Tucker does during the postseason. You get to see it up close and personal for your $1,000 nosebleed seats. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. While you're eating your $74 hot dog. Hey,
That's
listen, I
right.
mean, every organization needs a villain. And the Dodgers, I mean, for the longest time, it was the Yankees. Now nobody cares about the Yankees. Now it's the Dodgers. I mean, so maybe the Dodgers signing all these players will unite the league and the fans to finally stop giving all the Astros all the shit that they give us for, the whole issue. I mean, I get it, but it's over and done with. I mean, so but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, it's not like they went into the playoffs this past season and just swept out it all the way. I mean, so they could be beat. I'm just happy that we got the one guy that said, "Listen, it would be an honor and a privilege to play with them. However, I would rather beat them."
Hell
So
yes.
that's what I'm
That's the
talking about.
dude.
So
That's the dude. That's the dude I want on my team. That's the dude that we have.
yeah,
Now, can we convince him to stay for year 2 and 3?
I'd say baby steps. Let's just do baby steps. I mean, let's not worry about him re-signing. Let's worry about him having a good season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, the last image of 2022 is Ryan Pressley on the mound and Kyle Tucker catching the ball up against the fence on the first base foul pole, right? And
Yeah.
one's retired and one is making $60 million a year. But I don't know. We'll get I just want to touch on that a little bit because it was just kind of funny to see some of the comments about Tucker going. I wanted to see what you felt. I mean, like I was kind of speechless in the way of just kind of shocked that like that was the move. Like that's the move, bro. Like that's what you went and did.
Yeah.
But cool.
No, I mean, I get it.
Cool. If you can't beat them, join them, man. So
Yeah.
well, look, man, that's gonna be it for tonight. We will be back probably on Wednesday, I'm guessing this week. Because I think Chris is kind of bowed up. But
Yeah, Wednesday, and then I guess definitely Wednesday.
yeah, it looks like Wednesday night. But look, follow us on X. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. As always, man, we really appreciate the support that we're getting. Make sure you follow us on the X at Juice_Box Heroes. We're on Facebook at Juicebox Heroes, TikTok at Juicebox Heroes. And again, just thank you for the support. But we'll be back on Wednesday. I think Braz will be with us there as well. But until then, man, look, this is Juicebox
He should
Heroes.
be.
This is the Juicebox Heroes podcast. I'm PK. Homer Chris. You guys have a great rest of your evening and have a great start to your week.
Yep. And thank you for the guys still listening on Spotify. You guys are holding it down.
Holding that down. Let's go.